Achomi na ajele gbojo kwe ni biane nyenko gotkushTV nye. My name is Na Ajele Gbojo Kwe, and right now you're watching gotkushTV. Thank you.
Tender and wildly be thankful unto the Mother, Father, creative life force of the universe, Kuzai Muzimu Mokuro. Give praises unto our great ancestors, Abibi Tumi, Abibi Fahodi, African power and African liberation for all African peoples. I bring you greetings from Mama Ghana and the west coast of Mama Africa. Over here, spending time with family and also engaging in some powerful organizing, Pan-African, African nationalist, Garveyite, organizing work, brothers and sisters, but all will become clear in due course. I just was moved, however, to do a quick video. We're not gonna spend long on this video, but do a quick, share some thoughts that I've been having ever since having visited once again for the third time the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, the edifice and somewhat of a tour that is dedicated to the life and legacy and remembrance of the first president of Ghana, who is Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah. And it has brought up a conversation within my own mind and reasoning with my empress about this as well, in relation to the idea of whether our national heroes should be tourist attractions, whether the life, the legacy, the works, the paraphernalia of our national heroes as African people should be tourist attractions. And all of my thoughts are not going to be confined to the Nkrumah Memorial. That's just going to be, what has inspired the conversation. But we'll explore some other issues. So since I last came a few years ago, the Nkrumah Memorial Park has had a bit of a makeover. There's some new features, a new entrance. They have a gift shop, restaurant, bar, and as far as the actual display and the exhibition, there are some new elements that have been added to it. And credit where it's due, it looked good, what I'm saying? And there's some new large quotations of Nkrumah along the wall as you pass, and some of them are, all of them are beautiful quotes, but some of them are particularly important as far as explaining what Nkrumah's legacy actually is. So it, from an aesthetic point of view, from the point of view of the experience, that you get as you go through the Nkrumah Memorial Park, certainly the thing has been upgraded exponentially, all right? However, if you are reasoning from a Pan-Africanist point of view in general, or an Nkrumahist point of view in specific, it will leave a whole heap of things to be desired, what I'm saying? Now, I haven't always gone on the actual tour, but this time I did, what I'm saying? I had one of my daughters with me, and so we went through, and my son, and we went through the actual tour, and I was explaining certain things to them. And it brought up the question for me, should our national heroes be tourist attractions, And the reason why that thought was inspired in my mind is because the Nkrumah Memorial Park is, in fact, a tourist attraction. But because of the fact that Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah is a political figure, and the politics that he represented was fundamentally anti-imperialist, anti-colonialist, and anti-neocolonialist, and to the extent that we still exist in a world governed by neocolonial order, in order to maintain the Nkrumah Memorial within that environment, as a viable tourist attraction, you have to sanitize and depoliticize so much, of the legacy of the man and his work that really, it's impossible to do any significant justice to the first president of a nation like Ghana under those circumstances. And this is not a reality that is confined to Ghana. For years, as Africans, from Jamaica, from me born, there's been a conversation about the lack of substantive recognition of Marcus Mosiah Garvey in Jamaica beyond just the accolade. He is our first national hero. You know, him upon, you know, some of the money, and my father grew up in Jamaica, and him said, well, yeah, when him grew up until he meet certain Rasta man, Marcus Garvey was just the man on the front of one of his workbooks at school, yeah. But you know, the inclusion of Garvey and Garveyism in the curriculum, and a proper memorials to Garvey, like his grave site now is again a tourist attraction. There's been all kinds of talk about developing the home that he was born in St. Anne's as a tourist attraction. Yeah, similar. Bob Marley's not a national hero, but you know, a significant artistic, cultural, and political figure as an icon of the Rastafari movement and reggae music. And there's a museum in his name, but to a significant degree, again, yeah, in order to maintain it as a tourist attraction, significant elements of the thing have to be missed out and depoliticized. Yeah, and so even coming back to the Nkrumah Memorial, all right, you know, I pay attention to these things. Yeah, what the tour guide says from what she not say. All right, and I don't want anybody to take this as a critique of the tour guides. Yeah, I am not critiquing the tour guides in any way, shape, or form. The tour guides are doing a job, and to a significant degree, what they say to us is prescribed. Yes, and to the extent that the memorial is governed, yeah, by government ministries, what they say is restricted, yeah, by the nature of the government of the time. So we're not critiquing the tour guides. We're simply saying that so let me give you an example of what I mean. We get to the point whereby we talk about Nkrumah being overthrown, yes, in 1966, and what symbolizes this is a monument that existed outside the government house, yeah, the House of Parliament, during Nkrumah's time, which is of Nkrumah, okay. And when he was overthrown, he happened to be out of the country, and so this was stated. Who overthrew him, yeah, was not stated at that point. All right, for why, yeah, was not stated in any way, shape, or form. The emphasis was on the fact that this particular monument was vandalized, and the head went missing, and then it was found and returned to the park in the early 2000s. Yeah, and so, you know, there's a lot missing, yeah, right there. We walk through, yeah, the context. The quote from Nkrumah: "The independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of the African continent," and that is actually repeated a couple times, yeah, in the exhibition. But then there's no context for that statement. He also talks about us having our own institutions, yes, that are collectively governed and collectively owned. There's no room for any exploration of these things and what they actually mean. Why? Because the nature of our existence as African people around the world, whether it's Africa or the Caribbean or anywhere else, is fundamentally neo-colonial in nature. And so there's a direct, yes, conflict between the tourist vibration and the kind of political education that it would take to make the legacies of those heroes in actuality meaningful. All right, and so, you know, it's an interesting point, because so many of our economies in Africa and the Caribbean are almost reliant, yes, if not reliant, on tourism for a significant amount of of financial generation in the economy. And that also means appeasing, to a significant degree, foreign sensibilities, yeah. And the foreign sensibilities may not be too interested in hearing about the extent to which you know, Britain and America and France are neo-colonies, yeah, neo-colonial nations in this age. And the Asante for Kwame Nkrumah wrote an entire book on the subject, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So the work of Nkrumah is not yet finished. And that brings me to another point, brothers and sisters, because one of the things that I was very keen to observe is that when I heard that there was a gift shop, yeah, in the Memorial Park, I wanted to see the number of Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah books that would be featured in the gift shop. Yeah, as I said, in Jamaica, it's been a big issue in libraries and institutions throughout the education system. The lack of access, and proliferation of the books on the most honourable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. All right, and I heard some years ago when I came that there's no Nkrumah books in the library at the University of Ghana. Yeah, so I wanted to see how much Nkrumah books. Now it's said throughout the tour that Nkrumah wrote 14 books and a number of pamphlets. Yeah, this is actually stated. All right, the books are not named during the tour, but I wanted to see how many of those 14 books would be on display in the gift shop for people to actually purchase. Yeah, and so we got to the gift shop, and there is a section, a very small section I might add, of books about Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah. Two of them, yes, are books that he wrote himself. So the books that were there when I went were Voice from Conakry, which are books that which is essays and papers that he wrote after he was overthrown and living in Guinea. And then the second one was Dark Days in Ghana, which is his analysis of what was happening and circumstances concerning leading up to the coup that overthrew him in 1966. Okay, the rest of the books were more books on Nkrumah by other authors, and then there was 2 volumes of selected speeches of Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah. Okay, and so I don't know, what the circumstances behind that being the order. Maybe they've had a full complement on other occasions. If you have been to the memorial before and you've seen a full complement of books written by Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, please let me know in the comments. I'll be interested to know that. I don't know why those were the only 2 on display at that time, but it was disappointing. And not only that, it was things like like I said, that section was very small, but I'm saying if this is the gift shop for the Kwame Nkrumah National Park, it seemed to me that even from a basic commercial, promotional, point of view, more could be done here. For example, I mean, I've seen a poster of Nkrumah, like where you can buy. A poster, but you can put on your wall poster of Nkrumah, posters with Nkrumah and sayings, words, popular quotes from Nkrumah, bag, t-shirt with Nkrumah. Most of that was not there, right? You know what I'm saying? Which seems to me to be obvious in the Kwame Nkrumah National Park. All right, and so it seems that there's a limitation upon which people can take Nkrumah home, yes, and the sensibilities and the legacy of the Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah can inspire people beyond their experience at the Kwame Nkrumah National Park. And so this is also a challenge for us as Pan-Africanists of all stripes, because it seems that there is an inherent opportunity there should we choose to amass the resources to engage it. Now, I don't know the extent to which you are allowed to conduct your own tours at the Kwame Nkrumah National Park and any other space that we have as African people within the black world. And it's necessary to know also that in some of these spaces, we have an issue of monuments still being erected to colonizers and neo-colonizers. In recent years, you've had the Rose Must Fall movement. There are still celebrations and honors for Ronald Reagan, in Grenada, the man who invaded the island. And there are even observances annually, yes, to celebrate the Americans who invaded the island. And recently, that contradiction was addressed quite explicitly in Grenada, based upon the idea that Grenada is the only island, it was said, and I forget the name of the brother who said this, so forgive me, but the Grenada is the only island that celebrates those who invaded the island, whilst failing to celebrate those of the island who defended the island from invasion. And so we have to correct these contradictions among us as African people. But that contradiction, those contradictions, are also reflective of the touristy mentality that we have in relation to our cultural heritage, our national heritage as a people, because the tourist element, because it is designed, yes, towards catering for colonial interest, protecting neo-colonial interest, that is going to be produced in the substance of the celebrations and what we choose to celebrate. So as I was saying, this creates a challenge and an opportunity for us as Black nationalists, Pan-Africanists, yeah, of every stripe, all right? Whether you're an Nkrumahist, Touréist, whether you're a Garveyite, yeah, whatever your shade of Pan-Africanism, this presents a challenge for us. Because, for example, I did take a beautiful picture in between, yeah, a wall installment that on one hand had the words of the statue for Kwame Nkrumah. I am not African because I was born in Africa, but because Africa was born in me. And on the opposite side, it had a big black star, yeah? And nowhere is it said that that from what I heard anyway, that the black star is actually an honor to the most honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, all right? And so I am aware of the fact that our aunties from Moyo Wataifa some years ago, yeah, were planning to host Nkrumah tours in Accra, not just limited to the Nkrumah Memorial Park, but there are other sites, yeah, that are relevant to the Nkrumah legacy in Accra. And I think that's a beautiful and a powerful initiative, yeah, that can be replicated in places like Jamaica, and places like Grenada, and places like Nigeria, and places like Congo, where, you know, people like Maurice Bishop and the People's Revolutionary Government existed, or people like Patrice Lumumba of Congo existed. You know what I'm saying? There are opportunities for us to develop tours that really do delve into the relevant geopolitical, social, economic, and cultural history that is associated with these great heroes of ours from these different various nations. And I want to check in with our aunties at Moyo Wataifa, from Moyo Wataifa, the Pan-African Women's Organization, in terms of where we are at with that particular tour right there. I know some good work is being done in Jamaica at Liberty Hall, yeah, you know, and there are some other good works taking place. But we have to seriously question the extent to which we should allow governments that operate within the neo-colonial framework, gladly and happily, yes, to have the last word and push out the defining narrative on people of such a significance as Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah. I've been to the Nkrumah Memorial at times, and there's tours of children going to the memorial and being taken through the tour. And my heart ball, yeah, certain time, because, you know, it's obvious that they're not going to get a proper appreciation of the man and what he stood for. And so we have to ask serious questions, brothers and sisters, about how we over-rely on tourism in general, and especially in relation to the extent to which that tourism is targeted towards packaging our national liberation and revolutionary heroes as a palatable product for foreign and neo-colonial interest. It's just a thought, brothers and sisters, for your consideration. I hope that makes sense. If you have a comment or a question or even a challenge, please feel free to engage me in the chat to this video. Like up the video, share it far and wide, and if you are not subscribed to gotkushTV, subscribe to gotkushTV. There will be more on the other side, brothers and sisters. Until such time, Tendai Mwali, be thankful unto the Mother, Father, creative life force of the universe, Kozai Mudzimu Mokuro. Give praises unto our great ancestors, Abibi Tumi, Abibi Fahodi, African power and African liberation for all African people. Share.